general, and if you need a balance in any of the other accounts, all you have to do is ask me, and I can give you the balance. I just can't give you the long report until I can get end of year stuff done. What I have done on here to show you is from January 1 to now is our ending balance of 2012, which is the beginning balance. And then I've made a list of all receipts that we have received from January 1 to now.
I'll catch up.
And then I've made your disbursements, which is your payroll and payables, and then giving you the ending balance, which is $146,948.24 for county general. And so what I will do is try to, until I can have everything done to generate you the loan reports, give you updates like this, in between.
In other words, instead of looking up here for the final balance, it'll be down here.
Well, that's just for today. I just wanted to give y'all a rundown of all the monies that we've received so far this year.
Oh, I see.
Because I can't give you the loan report.
Okay.
I mean, I could print a report out, but I would have to handwrite it because I can't post payables yet.
How computer savvy are you? What do we gotta do to get you?
The only way that we can do, like, for example, like with Jason, this like you can touch a button and it'll tell you, is every check would have to be computer generated. See, when Juanita does county general, it's automatically in there. But then I have to post after that, because my books are the main books. Also, see, Juanita doesn't do county highways payables, I do their payables. I do general assistance payables, I do TV payables. Juanita doesn't do all that. So, my books has the whole county's stuff in it. And when Juanita has to write checks for the payables for all this stuff, she has to handwrite these checks. They're not computer generated. And the only other way that it would be in my office and hers is if we were networked.
That's what
Now, the problem with that is the check and balance. If, say for example, when I'm doing the payables and there is a mistake there, I catch it, we can correct it. But I have 40 accounts myself that I'm responsible for. If I can't get to the bank statements at that month because I've got something else going on, then if there's a mistake, it's not gonna be caught till maybe a month later, which could be detrimental to us, So, the reason this was set up this way is for check and balance. It's for me that I catch, if anything is wrong, then I catch it. And then I have to correct it, Or I go to Juanita and I say, what's this supposed to be? Sometimes somebody might turn something wrong with the payroll, we might have to redo a payroll check, or it could possibly be a payable that's gotta be redone, somebody turns in a claim, and we might have to redo that. So if I don't do a check and balance of this, then that can be lost. So that's the reason this was set up like this, from my understanding, years and years and years ago, So the only way is if it's, like I said, every check was computer generated and we were networked, but then there's problems if it's networked. That's why they've never done it. That's what I've been told. And when the auditors put in the QuickBooks in Juanita's office, they didn't in ours because they said my books have to be more detailed. They have to be more detailed. They have to have all these details. And that's why they've kept the same book system in there. So I'm just doing what I was given to do and what I was told to do. This is from Williams to implement. I don't know about the new auditors. I don't know how they feel about it. John, do you have any idea? I don't know, but this is the way it was set up before because.
It was set up, the auditors like the little check and balances, and one of the reasons why we're not networked, Jeff, is it was a decision back when your program was put in place, back before I even got here and before Cheryl was here, they decided they didn't want to do that. Well, when it came time, when Williams and Lynch suggested, that it be networked, they started checking on the prices of software to do that, and it was just cost prohibitive. I mean, if you go out there on the market to get what's approved by the Department of Revenue and everything, just the initial purchase of the software is going to be $50,000–$60,000. And that's one reason why it was never done. And we went to QuickBooks because it was easier for us, and then she reposts it. But it's,
But the only thing I reposted is the county stuff, not, county highways, Lee does hers, but then I have to repost her
Yeah.
stuff. But now general assistance, nobody does her, I'm the only that does general assistance papers, and the TV. So, it's like John said, it costs so much money, and the county's simple enough to afford that. But for some reason, the auditors, they felt that was the best way to keep it, so.
Well, they did at the time because it, my feeling was we were paying all this money. The reason we went to QuickBooks was I felt that we were paying all this money for one
Right.
monitoring computer in my office, and it was being reposted. And the software that they purchased, at the time they purchased it, it was relatively inexpensive. A fellow developed it himself and sold it to counties, and it was a lot cheaper than these mainstream, like Manatron, and, there's probably 7 or 8 vendors out there that would do that and keep up with it, and he did it a lot cheaper. But then QuickBooks, when I made the decision to go to QuickBooks because we weren't networked, I was only paying something like $300 or $400 a year to buy the software. And as far as coming up and getting one of these mainstream software programs, right now the county can't cut it. We just can't. It's, anytime you check a price, just for the software alone, is $50,000 to $60,000.
And even then, I would still have to repost county highways, do general assistance books, and the TV fund books. And then on top of that, I still have to post all the receipts also for the county, monies that we take in. I've got to do deposit bill, and I've got to post all that has to be manually done. That has to be posted before I can even run reports, so that's why sometimes, I know once I get to where I can start, doing this year's payables. One reason too was last year where I was out sick, got behind, being out so long. But once I get this to the point where I get caught up with it, then you won't see too much handwritten stuff on it. But it's just, I'm just getting caught back up and being out sick, And I've got all of 2012's done. I'm finishing up my bank statements, and as soon as I finish them, then I can start posting 2013. And once I start in posting that stuff, then I'll get caught up to where you won't see too many handwritten reports. A lot of that was just due to me being out sick last year.
I seen you got the W-2s or whatever sent out. That's good. It's hard work. I probably already got that done.
I've got that done last week, I got the W-2s and the 1099s both done.
Yeah. Who gets the 1099s, like the ones that help Larry in his office?
The scanners.
Yeah.
Then there's different businesses that do work for us. Anybody that does, it's like it does work for the county,
Right.
and they're not employees, and they make $600 or more,
Okay.
then I have to give them a 1099.
Okay.
And it's pretty much the same ones each year. You might have a new one once in a while, but some of it's like doctors,
Yeah.
somebody maybe who's done work around the courthouse, maintenance or something for us, and things like that.
Yeah, you get that out pretty quick. I think you, by law, you have to work at the end of January.
About January 31st. But anyways, I hope that kind of explains things to you, why sometimes you might have to get a handwritten, but, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months, I'll be to the point back to having things back in line before I got sick, and so you won't see too many things handwritten. But once in a while, you might have a county general, because like I said, if I get payables on Monday, there's no way I can get
Right.
that done, give you a,
Just right tonight.
right, there's just too many, so, but it won't be as much this year as it was last year. Well, pretty darn right, it'll be 6.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Mr. Glasgow, pretty good. We'll go ahead and get Larry, if that's all right.
That's,
He's on the agenda.
earlier.
Yours is TBA.
Do I still put him down as T? Well, that's why I asked him. He said that's the way it
That's the way
is.
it is.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes not.
Get some stuff for us to sign. I bet maybe you have some bills. No, not till next week.
He wanted them in order for some reason, I don't know why.
How's, equipment and everything out there running? Cold, isn't it? We got a couple maintenance issues with things. You're always gonna have when you have that much equipment.
I'm gonna be broke down.
You wanna get something from Mr. Glasgow or is that on?
I'm talking in my stomping grounds, isn't he?
Across the road. You used to farm? I don't think you do now, do you?
No, I don't know. But I know all about this area.
That guy called me there, and of course, he's called before, but.
I was out there about 1 o'clock in the morning, I saw him.
I know. Yeah, he said backhoe showed up, I don't know. He got backhoe when they been cleaning up that culvert.
Yeah, Sunday morning later, when the water went down,
About 5
where we
o'clock,
could do
he said.
something, yeah.
The city's got the same problem down there, north of Dorothy Miller Park. See, that's the big bowl down there's all flooded, it's went under Third Street, flooded that, and water won't get out of there. But see, the FEMA boys cleaned all that up. It's got that culvert all stopped. They guess it's underwater, of course, but
There was more debris here than I've ever seen there before this time.
what, did they clean that ditch off?
I don't know.
The reason I say that, I looked at it and gave the guy a price, and I think somebody else did it. I think they did, I didn't see them, but.
Well, a lot of this, at least some of the stuff I saw was old dead tree limbs and tree snags and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't, it didn't appear to be new stuff, it was old limbs that had fallen down in the ditch. And
Larry, I'll tell you what he told me and see what you think about it. He says that creek down there where all that ends up, I guess down there where the old concrete bridge was, don't all run down there. He says it don't run full,
it didn't what?
run full. You know, like it would back the water all the way up through there. He, of course, he says raising the road, you know, with the oil and chip, which won't amount to what, an inch or inch and a half.
Over 20, 30 years.
Yeah. It's hurting, isn't it?
He hasn't told you that his house was built in a natural drain, has he?
No.
I'll tell you, I found something out about water. It runs downhill. And when you build in a floodplain, you'll
He,
flood.
he didn't build the house,
Right.
but the people that bought the corner built the house. And the water from the north coming down Pell Road used to run across the field where his house is at.
Oh, really?
Yes. This is before his time, so he may not be aware of this, even though we have tried to tell him.
Yeah.
And what he probably told you was he wants us to cut the road and put a culvert across the road.
Yeah, but I didn't know where he was talking about. He did say that.
He's talking along Pell Road. He's wanting to catch the water
In front of his house, or
on the
corner.
East side.
east side and take it straight across the road
Due south.
to the south. When that water, prior to that house being there, come down and went across the field where his house is at. Now, we have tried to help him by bringing it around the corner. That corner, there didn't used to be a ditch on that corner. We backed equipment into Wayne Overmark's field right at the corner for years until they put that house there. Wayne would let us park equipment. And there was no ditch that come around the corner. That water came down the hill, went across the corner into the ditch where the natural drainage took it. By law, that's where it has to continue to go. You can't change the natural course of the water. Now, even if we did do that, stop this,
Well, yeah, he's talking about on the east side of the road going, under Powers Church.
East side of his house, the west side of the road. Correct?
Oh,
well, now maybe he's,
no, I don't know.
There
He
is
did
a,
say
there
something.
is a ditch on the east side
east
of
side
the
of
road.
the road that goes
And
straight
that-
south.
There is a culvert under that
Uh,
east side. Been there several times, I know how it works, yeah.
Mhm.
And it don't plug up, that I've ever seen.
No, once I've seen it, yeah. Corn, beans,
Corn stalks,
yeah,
How big is
stuff
that
like that.
culvert?
probably 18 inches,
18,
I
24,
guess.
something like that.
Well, what, how often does this happen to him?
Whenever that twin pipe there west of his house gets stopped up with debris,
Yeah,
then
there's
then we have problems. Or,
There's 3 pipes there,
is it 3?
yeah,
Okay.
about 48 inches.
Or if you have a rain like we had the other night, I got called out around 12:30 Sunday morning and went out there, and I was just east of Orchard Road, and the road was flooded.
Yeah.
And I looked and looked and looked, and it was just more rain than the pipe would carry. I kept looking at it and watching it and
It
thinking,
wasn't stopped up.
it was not stopped up there. And then when I found out, I thought, oh my, I wonder what we've got, and it was stopped up, worse than I've ever seen it there at his house, and
I think they did some clearing back in there.
I don't know. He had mentioned to somebody that he thought somebody was throwing some limbs or debris in the ditch, and I
That's what
said,
he
well,
told
you
me.
know, that's between him and whoever's doing it, we've got nothing to do with that.
You
Well, now,
mean
what-
off the black, they're
No,
or up above? Okay.
out in the, back, way back in the woods back in there.
And, you know, I don't know.
Could be, no, all right.
And if that's between him and them, and we've got nothing to do with that, but, I had never seen the water over the road at his house. He said it has been. I would have to take his word for it, but I did see it Sunday night.
He said, way up 300 feet west. He said,
300 feet west.
yeah,
Well,
I mean,
It was
from there
up-
all the way to the intersection.
it was up, all around his building there on the
Yeah.
west side of his house, and it was up over at least one of his driveways into his house. I don't know if it was over the other or not, I can't remember, but,
Well, he was thinking the box culvert maybe would be better than that, those 3 times.
you know, when those pipes were put in there, probably 50 years ago.
Well, that's what I told him. I said,
And
there's
we
clearing
had,
and all this
we
went
haven't
on.
had any problem until,
The water's just speeded up.
well,
in
I
later years.
don't know
Well,
if we
it
have.
It-
It just, we haven't had any problem until he moved in. And I don't know if the people that built the house sold it to him because they saw the mistake they had made.
Well, in other words, this is the first time you've seen it go over the road out there?
This is the first time I have been there to see it go over the road. He has told me it has gone over here, and I don't know when, sometime in the past since he's lived there. And I just have to take his word for it because I wasn't there when it was over.
I just wonder if the culvert's got stopped up, if that's the reason it went over the road, or was it backed up?
It wasn't backed up, the ground is high.
No, every time I think there's been a problem, the culvert's been stopped up.
So,
Yeah.
Well, then that's,
When the culverts don't stop up, I don't think he has too much issue. Well, if you look at his ground, the ditch bank there on the east side of that ditch is probably only about 4 foot lower than his house. So if it fills up and comes out of the ditch bank any at all, it's backing out into his yard.
well, if that creek down there is not got it backed up, it's either not big enough or it's got debris in front of it. I mean, if the creek, south side of Pale Road, or that Power Trust Road is not running full, well, there's gotta be a restriction there, does it not? You see what I mean?
You need to understand something, Mr. Childers.
Okay.
No bridge in this county, even the brand new ones, are designed to carry all rainfall flows. They're designed to carry a 3.5-inch rain. No pipe culvert is designed to carry 100% of the flow all the time. They're designed to carry it for about a 20-year frequency flood, is what they call it, a 20% flood now. It'll happen 20% of the time.
Yeah.
Anything over that, 50, 100-year flood, right down the road from him, we have a brand-new bridge, and that bridge was designed, I was telling the fellas, there was water over the road there on a brand-new
I've
bridge.
seen water over that road.
You mean where the concrete bridge was?
Yes.
Down at 7 Mile Creek, which is the next road south, 7 Mile Creek. Water was over the road there. That bridge was designed with, in a larger flood, there would be over-the-road flow. Because it gets out of the creek
Well,
banks.
then that creek must have been full then.
It was
Oh, yeah.
down there at that
He
time.
told me it didn't run full.
Well, it may not have been up on Pell Road, but it was close. But it was right around the corner on Waldo Church Road, the next bridge downstream. It was out of banks. See,
Well, I'm trying to say, if that, ditch south of Power Church Road, what we're talking about, where the three culverts are, if it's not running full,
it was running fairly full.
I mean, the pipes would have took care of it,
Okay.
unless that debris was out there, you know, in front.
More than likely, it does take care of it. The only time I have ever had any indication that it went over the road is when the pipe stopped up. But what I'm telling you is we had such a rain and such a rain event that you go a mile, mile and a half west of there, and we had a pipe that was not stopped up. But it did not carry the flow. And it won't always. And there in the area, we had a bridge. It wasn't to the bottom of that bridge, but the creek banks, the bridge is higher than the creek banks, and,
Well, I understand that.
you know, and some of our bridges, not all of them, but some of our bridges are designed, and the hydraulic report, when it goes in and they are approved, they are designed, and I happen to know that one on Waldo was designed so that in higher floods, they took advantage of over-the-road flow, and it was not deep, but it was over the road. I drove through it, but the creek did come out, and it went over the road. If you tried to design every bridge and every culvert so that you did not get any over-the-road flow, no matter what,
To me, like a creek
couldn't
school
afford-
right there,
you couldn't afford to build
it's out
bridges.
in the field. See, you're looking south right there. I mean,
Yeah,
Pretty full.
well, you're talking about right here.
No,
The field
that's
is
on,
dry. isn't it?
well, I'm looking on the opposite side of this ditch right here. This is a little triangle shape right here,
Yeah.
stop sign.
Yeah,
On the opposite side is where that water is, that, my dad built a spool bank right here. That's why this field is not. But it's been that way since 1983 or 5, I can't remember.
yeah, I mean, there's no way to keep that
I mean, it just,
cleaned out.
Where it appears to me that he's getting most of his water is when those, culverts get stopped up,
Mhm.
and he's backing out from that ditch on the west side of his house, backing out into it. That's where he's getting his problem from.
His house must be about the same elevation as out there where the ditch is. I mean, the top of the
it's
ditch.
about as low as you can possibly go. not a good situation.
I've got some older map prior to that house.
Mhm.
It shows that drainage, and that house is built right in the middle of it.
What did they do, fill the ditch and move it,
Well,
or dig the ditch out front there?
Yeah, that's
Really
what they
wasn't
did,
much-
is they brought
there
the
wasn't
ditch
much of
around
a
the
ditch
corner.
there, it was just natural flow.
It was
I mean,
a
it
natural, just a natural valley in the field, and the water come down the hill and went across, like, we was talking about it, of course, he caught us and gave us what for the other morning, and
Oh, yeah.
part of the crew, and I watched it for a while, and finally it went down, and I called guys, and I timed it so that they got some sleep since I wasn't. And then hoping that by the time we got the roads cleaned off, that they could, have some daylight, so they could see
Yeah.
better what they were doing, and get in there and clean it out, and do a good job, and not tear something up, and
Maybe when all that debris gets washed out there, it'll work all right. Biggest part of the time, anyway.
see, we had some problems. It's been, what, a year and a half since we've had a rain like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And we had some issues, that we haven't had any problem for a while. And of course, with stuff building up for that long a time, like I said, I've never seen it backed up this bad. And I don't know if we've gotten everything out of there yet. There was some big stuff that we didn't have out yet. We were gonna go back and get everything out of there so that he didn't have any, problem.
Well, Larry, what if private property is causing that to back up? I mean, I'm not talking about this situation, but say private property, the ditch went out on private property that was filled up. You see what I mean? Like this little triangle ditch you're talking about going across the corner. What if that was stopped up, causing that to back up through there? Where does the county stand on something like that?
I don't know. If it's on private property, we don't go there.
Right. Just wonder,
So,
can you force somebody to clean it out, or
Uh,
it's up to the people involved, basically, or? You ever had that happen?
I don't know if I've ever had it happen where it affected us. I have seen it happen in private property owners. I got a call this morning. A fella said the water's coming across the road and washing a big gully in his field. And he's wanting us to go out in his field and fill his washout up.
Out by the country club?
And this is not the only place that I've had this situation. And he and his tenant need to change the farming practices. When you spray and cultivate all your waterways and don't have a waterway, and you get a big rain, it's going to erode.
Oh, there's farming across them.
This is in his field. And he doesn't farm it anymore, he has a tenant that farms it. And there was another situation, same landowner, different location. And we have put checks at the end of our ditch trying to slow the water down. But it's going out across the field and washing ditches 3, 4, 5, 6 foot deep across the field. Well, you need to change your farming practices.
Yeah, you just pick up that equipment and drive over it and put it back down.
From what I've seen is farmers disking over the waterways and maybe even spraying them. And if you have no vegetation across bare soil and you get a rain, it's going to erode.
Wasn't Dry Ridge Road, was it?
And I've had more than one. I had one on Weaver Creek one time, talked to him, he said, there's some trees in the creek, we need to get down there and clean them out. I says, whose property are they on? Well, that's running through my property, and I said, well, that's your responsibility. Well, that's in the creek, that's the county's, ain't it? And I said, no, sir. That's yours. And he didn't like that, because he didn't want to spend the money.
You know, that's a strange thing. Bucky Wellness, bought that green, or Memphis place.
Okay.
He told me that he bought that farm ground, but not the creek drainage. Did you ever hear that? I thought all that went together. He says he didn't own the creek. But he's dumping concrete in there, you know, to stop the erosion. Maybe he just don't know anything on it.
If it's not deeded out, I don't know how he did not buy the creek, but that could be.
Say about it. I guess that. Miss Canamore, there on Carson.
Mm-hmm.
I went out there, you put some rock on that road, haven't you, in the last? So it may need grading, she thought it needed.
We tried to plow the snow off of it, okay.
Yeah. It may have some potholes in it, but what she's wanting her drive fixed and said just get the county road while I was at it, but actually, I didn't see anything too much wrong with the county road.
Okay. We take a look at it.
Just
No,
grade it
we're
sometime.
trying to get, of course, we got a bunch of grading to do now.
This situation here, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, have them kinda, it's in his front yard. Surely he can watch and see, hey, there's a stick in front of it.
Dave said he may have called him Saturday night. And of course, David says, well, kind of tough to deal with until the water goes down. And that's what I,
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
and that's kind of what I was waiting on from, I was out there, I'm gonna say between 12:30 and 1 o'clock Sunday morning, I was out there and saw, you know, had a mess.
What if that water was that high, there wasn't any way that the man could get out there
And,
end up turning the thing over.
And then dark, and that's why I say I tried to wait and let the guys get some sleep. I was losing sleep, they didn't need to, and, because they went for quite a ways. We've got one road that washed completely out, and we still got it closed. I got another pipe coming.
Gravel road.
Yeah, it's got a couple people inconvenienced. They've got a way out, but we got the road blocked, and we're taking the old pipe, bottom rusted out of it. It's been in there since '89, so it's done pretty good for a metal pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I've got another pipe coming. They're hoping to have it to us
what size is this?
Friday.
8 foot? Plastic one,
No,
They
I
make
can't get
plastic?
plastic.
they don't make them that big?
I found out I'm looking at a 5-foot plastic to replace another. We've got it repaired, and we ain't got no problem, but the bottom of the pipe's gone there too, so.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can put concrete in the bottom of them, but boy, if 5-foot pipe, that's pretty tough to get in there and work.
What are you talking about?
It's a lot of hard work, 'cause
Well, you have run a small, well, I mean, not that big, but it's like on a small pipe running another one inside of it.
yeah,
It helps a little.
we have been able to do that on some of them.
Yeah.
And we might be able to do that here, I don't know. It's on a gravel road, we may just dig it out and replace it, so. Anything else?
What do you have?
Have you told her?
No, I hadn't said nothing, I'm sorry.
Jason,
You want me to tell her? You-
Yeah, you can tell him.
give me those pictures. She wants them back.
I am retiring
Retiring,
as of the end of June.
end of June.
Pass it around.
Here are the, kind of the qualifications in the statutes for county engineer, superintendent of highways. One and the same. And the procedure that you go through to, name a new one, appoint a new one. You go through whatever interview process you want to go through. You can submit up to 5 names to IDOT. I can, when the time comes, I talked to Dennis, the resolution allows for 5 names, so he would prefer you send less than that. Right. You know, if you could weed out down to 2 or 3, they would appreciate that, you know, it's a chore for them. And then, of course, they set up, once you submit those names by resolution to IDOT, then they set up, and with those, and they set up a time to test the individuals. Those that successfully complete the test that IDOT renders, and it is both a written and an oral still, that's what I did, and apparently it's still the process, then the Secretary of Transportation will submit those names back to the county board, through the county clerk, and tell you that these candidates have successfully completed the exam. At that point, you make your determination which candidate you want to appoint, and you pass a resolution, and send that to IDOT, and they are appointed as my replacement. You can only appoint someone within 190 days. That window is in here. And I asked Dennis about that, and he says, no, it has to be within 190 days. End of June brings you back to the last board meeting in March, would be the first time you could appoint officially. Now, if you have someone ahead of time, you could always hire an assistant with the understanding that when the time frame comes, that's your decision. You handle that however you want to, but I'm just throwing out the possibilities of what you could do.
If, we put an ad in the newspaper, which we talked about doing the internet, you know, for the other counties. How would you approach this? So would there be like a website for them to go to look at what their qualifications are, how we would write it up in the newspaper? You already got it there.
Here's a suggested, and you take a look at it. I haven't put anything out yet. I have told my counterparts in District 9, I had a county engineers meeting Thursday, so I let them know, and I haven't put anything out. I wanted you to take a look at that, and if you want it revised anyway, why,
Would they know where to go to that code, or should we give them a website for them to go to IDOT or something? Or how?
well, it's just, that's the Illinois state statutes is what that is, and that, you can look it up, you can put that in on Google,
Oh, it'll pull it right.
and it'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah, I put that whole thing at 605 ILCS, you can type that in, I know you can, yeah.
Okay.
I've done it before, and it will go right and give them that, and of course, I've got it in books, John's got it in a statute book, you know, I've got it in statute books, we've got, if they do it the way they did me when IDOT, contacted me when I was submitted, I think they mailed me a book they call Road and Bridge Law of the state of Illinois. And it's about that thick, and it brings out all the laws that pertain to potentially road and bridge issues. I've got it on my desk and I refer to it. Most of the time, there are just a few pages that I get into. But it's got, for county business, it's got a county section, it's got a municipal section, it's a whole bunch of different things in there that it covers. Most of mine is out of just a few chapters right in the middle of it. So
That's what you use mostly.
there are other things you can look up. It's basically IDOT, this is a book that they put together instead of a stack, your statutes book's about that long, they've tried to abbreviate it down into the road and bridge law, and they print this every few years. I've got it in, I looked this up, I've got it on CD. There's a CD in the back of the book now. Now this printed this out and they blew it up. It was real fine print. I blew it up so I could read it.
You said you notified the 9 counties. Will you be able to notify them other, you know, you said you could send a mass email out if.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I just told them I was retiring is all I told them. Yes, if this is, you think this is satisfactory, then I can,
So you could send
then
that,
I can get that out to all 102 counties if you want. I can email it to all of them.
that'd be good, and then we'll decide as a board what papers we want to put
Okay.
in.
All right, before I send it, I wanted you guys to, and I put in here, what kind of deadline would you Or do you want a no, I think you need to put a deadline
Oh,
in
yeah,
there.
most definitely.
Yeah.
What would you like in there?
I don't know, what do y'all think?
What, do they need to work with you somewhere, or?
Deadline to put the resume.
No, this is for resume only.
Okay.
You can't put a deadline otherwise in there because you don't know what IDOT's gonna,
Yeah.
it may take them several days to arrange and get you results back from any examination that they render. But I was looking at a deadline for,
What do you think, like February the 11th maybe? I mean, that'd give about 3 or 4 weeks. Would be sufficient, you all think, or not? And if we put one in the paper, it'd give, some time. You think that'd be enough time, or is that too much time?
Well, if we went to the 18th, they'd give them a full 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, or very close to it.
I just don't know the process it takes once we go to IDOT and all that, 'Cause you said the end of March would be the soonest that they could file all.
I counted back the 180 days.
Right.
30 in June, 31, you got 91 days to the 1st of April. Well, that gives you 9 days. That means at the board meeting on the 26th, I think the 100 days goes back to like March the 22nd or the 23rd, which would be after your March 19th board meeting.
Right.
So, and like I said, if things work out and this is your decision, if you want to bring them on ahead of time, you can bring them on as assistant. And then,
How about February 15th on that Friday? That way by the time we meet that next week, we can at least have them look at them.
Is February 12th Lincoln's birthday?
I think it is.
Yep.
Okay, well,
I'm
looks like
off.
we'll be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's-
15 would be fine.
Which brings up that, I emailed that Chris Box and say that, told him the board wasn't interested in a
Okay.
go-to meeting, and he suggested he would be available February the 12th.
Okay.
When I read it yesterday, I hadn't looked at the calendar, but I'll email him back.
So we'll February the 15th then.
okay, I will put that in there and, like I said, I've suggested they mark them. And if I know it, I won't even open it. I'll bring them to you. But
Larry, it strains the 3 million population would have a superintendent, and under that would have an engineer.
that was
Is
worded that way.
superintendent
There
engineer-
is one county superintendent of highways in the state of Illinois, only one.
Well, is he an engineer also?
Oh, yes,
That's what I said.
that's required.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yes, Cook County. And the reason, when the name was changed to county engineer several years ago, Cook County come up, says we have so many resolutions and ordinances and everything on the book naming the county superintendent of highways. Please don't change that. So that's why it says county superintendent of highways or county engineer, strictly to accommodate Cook County. But yes, they all require to be county engineers now.
I figured.
Even though you read, there is one in there that, but I don't think there's anybody grandfathered in anymore. If you
there's a
were
grandfather.
prior to something like 1980, you didn't have to be an engineer. You were grandfathered in. That's when they changed the laws that it required an engineer, and I don't think there's any around.
I guess Taylor was, I guess he was an engineer, wasn't he? Oh, he wasn't? And Hill was, though. He wasn't. Well, they didn't have any qualifications? I mean, today's standards? Or-
At that time, there was a period in there that if you were under 15,000 population, and Massac County was, a registered land surveyor could be a county superintendent of highways. And Charlie was a registered land surveyor, and when he was appointed, Massac County was under 15,000. So he was kind of grandfathered in, and then they changed, see, he was appointed in 76, I think. And then in 1980, they changed it, required everybody to be an engineer unless they were grandfathered in. So Charlie continued until he retired, and could possibly have gone, I don't know how that reached, but anyway.
I mean, it says here, I mean, you could, option B, be 10 years practical experience in civil and highway engineering, right?
But you still are required to have a professional engineer, registered professional engineer. Yeah, I don't know of any way out of it except being a registered professional engineer anymore. See, each candidate will, it says that you will be, prior to that,
It shall also have
and shall also have,
at least one of the following.
yeah, a degree in engineering from a reputable school, at least 2 years in civil, and that's after you have become a registered professional engineer. Then you also have to have this other. There was a time, years ago, that you could become a registered professional engineer in the state of Illinois without having a degree.
So that must be why it
Not
looks like
anymore.
that.
If you aren't, that changed in 77, I think.
Yeah.
And it had, and in Illinois, it also has to be an accredited engineering program. And that didn't used to be.
So thank you for providing that information.
Any questions, I'll do my best. If I can't find the answer, I'll ask till I can do. Till we get them.
But, Larry, who was before Taylor? You know?
Oh, Lord.
in the main
Do you
50s?
want to know who has been since 1913?
No.
I'll bring it, I've got it in the office.
Taylor's the last one I can remember.
He started in the late 40s or 1950, somewhere in there is when Clyde started.
Oh, really?
I did this almost 25 years ago. They were asking for that history, and I got Danny Jones and myself, and we went through county board minute records, took us a day or so, and found out who they were from 1913 forward. And I can tell you Thrift Corliss was the first. And he did 2 or 3 different tenures in it at different times. There was somebody between him. And then prior to Clyde, I'm not sure, but I had that whole list. I put it in a file. I've hung on to it since I did a day or two work. I've hung on to it.
What year did you take the position?
87. October of 87 I started.
Well, then, Buddy Rice, he was just foreman, wasn't
He just foreman.
Yeah, he never was. So-
Yeah. He was foreman. It could have been Lauren Hinkle was acting prior to Clyde, because Lauren Hinkle was acting in there sometime. And he was he was superintendent of highways in Union County. I remember him
Okay.
growing up. He was there for a number of years. He was there until after I came down here, I think. Or shortly before, maybe, but anyway.
Can I get a copy of that sheet?
Yeah.
Let me go grab it.
I'll get it, straight back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Sheriff? Not retired.
Nope, not for a couple of years anyway, huh?
Still have bills? That's the annual payment to Dr. Cecil. Yeah. Jeff, you know what Dr. Cecil, you know what that is? That's, he kinda, I guess you would have to have, so you have to have a medical doctor on staff that writes all scripts.
Yeah, even though he never shows up, we have to have some doctor that authorizes the nurse to put prescriptions.
That's a one-time-a-year payment.
Most doctors don't even want to fool with it. We've been
food service bill getting up there to 5,000. What's that tools, like Norwood Tools?
Bobby Norwood, does a lot of our work now for light bars and radio equipment in the cars, transferring stuff from one car to another.
Who's that? Bobby.
Keith Norwood's boy. Lives on Shrubbery Road.
His boy. Is his name Bobby? That was his grandfather's name too.
How's things going over there?
Well, we had Sheriff Faulkner took one of our prisoners to Dwight Monday. John took 4 to Menard today, and we're down to 56.
Wow, I thought you was gonna say he's in the 30s.
So we got 14 that we're housing from out of county. I met he's a deputy sheriff from Mercer County. I don't know if you, where that's at. It's the county's just south of Rock Island, Illinois. Basically the same size as Massac, same population. Sheriff's Department's about the same size. And they just built, I guess in the last year or two, an addition to their jail. The pod system we talked about before,
Right.
the 2-story one. I think they got up to 120 beds now. And they're taking contracts, like he said, they just took like a 50-bed contract from Cook County to house there. And they're working on some other ones, and that's what they, 2 or 3 years, they're trying to find a way to bring in more revenue, and this is what they come up with. So,
Has it been successful for him, or did it just started?
so they've been working on this for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And he invited me to come up, so I told John maybe sometime next couple of months when the weather's better and they don't have as much snow up there.
Maybe one of us can go with you.
Just go back like that.
Be good to see. That'd be good. How did the roof hold out with all that rain?
As far as I know, it didn't leak a drop.
Good.
We'll get that problem fixed.
Excellent. It definitely would have tested there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a major rain.
It was mostly bad since probably May of 2 years ago when the flood.
Ted, I had, this Friday, I went up to Union County to see their new jail. Have you been up there?
I haven't been to see it yet.
They've got a elevator that goes up to the courtroom. And they put the person, you know, could be a killer, in that elevator, and there's no controls in there. And somehow they run it up to where they want it, and the door opens, and the inmate steps out into the room that's locked.
Really?
Yeah, and then when they come to get him ready, they unlock the door, and this guy walks into another room that's locked. And then from there, it's a courtroom. I mean, it's fancy, it's ready. And they don't even have a jail, just a detention center, they call it.
Yeah, Jackson County houses all the people.
Do they?
Did they get away from Tri-County?
Yeah, I think that's just now, they just contract. All the other counties use a county jail. Did they say how they paid for that courthouse and jail? Or
It was one of those, it was a sort of a sales tax. And I guess it was one of the, like a safety tax where you had, I don't know if they had to put it out for referendum.
I was in Murfreesboro Saturday, and I could have swore I drove by the courthouse there, and I don't know if that was correct. But it looked like they had advertisement that they had offices for lease there like that. Did they build a new courthouse in Murfreesboro?
No. It's right there, I don't even know what the name of that street, but it's just right there as you're going into town.
Well, this is like right on Main Street.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's right at the corner. And it had a sign out front that said space for lease. And it had like, I they had different businesses already in there, they had like a sign out front. And I thought, I was driving, it was raining, and I looked, and I could've swore it was the courthouse, it looked just like the courthouse.
Is there a federal building there too? I can't remember.
I don't think in Murfreesboro that there is.
It's, gosh, what's the name of that street, the main street that went to Vine or something, I forget what it was. And I asked Gerald about it, and I was like, I just wondered if they built a new courthouse and they were trying to, I always heard that you could not lease out, you could lease out the courthouse, but it'd be nonprofit organizations.
No, the only new ones I know of is Union County and Williamson County just opened up a new jail.
What
Not
county's
important.
Murfreesboro?
Jackson.
Jackson, okay.
Well, they need to, building, the commissioners working out of a two-room house. They're not even connected to the courthouse,
Jackson?
Union.
Union, okay.
And then, Tammy, they've got an old house across the street she works out of, just old remodeled house. But that commissioner, I thought that it looked like Mission fall down.
Huh. I'm gonna drive back up to Murfreesboro and just look. It was on a Saturday. I wish I'd got out now and walked around that building. It made it look just like a courthouse. I thought that was strange. Looks like a lot of inmates got their teeth pulled out here.
Like I said, when you have a lot of problems with meth, you're gonna get the teeth problem, that's what we're ending up with. Not saying that all of them are, but a lot of them. And again, another reason why you get that is because they're in there so long, you know, if we had a quick turnaround,
Yeah.
people bonding out, but people don't have the money, they can't bond out, the bond's high because of the offense they've committed, so.
What if the inmate says they don't want their tooth pulled?
I mean, we won't pull it unless it's medically necessary. I mean, it gets to the point where it gets infected, you know, and then it becomes a health issue. Usually when it starts throbbing, you know, we want it out.
I mean, that's with anybody.
And we've had some sitting there and just pull them out themselves. I mean, they're so rotted.
This girl named Sarah, she had the tooth pulled out.
That rescue medical is gonna really help there.
I hope.
For a while.
Till it runs
Isn't
out.
that gonna last long?
Yeah. Teeth.
You know, they don't have the money to bond out of jail, they don't have the money to pay their fines, so.
Yeah.
But they do have enough for tattoos.
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
John Paul, Dixon was still around, they wouldn't be calling them.
They say that solved a lot of tooth issues.
I need to have John to swear.
When Dr. Dixon was the,
Had an old dentist over there, they said, somebody told me he got on top of somebody trying to.
yeah, and he didn't use
Hold them
anesthesia.
down.
He got them out, huh?
And he never threw the tooth away. There's boxes of teeth in it.
Really?
Oh, Lord.
You hear John just walk around with a pair of channel locks in his back pocket, you know, when he starts talking about those teeth.
Take care of that, huh?
Yeah.
Just do it at home. Maybe little squires.
Anything else going on over there?
No. It's a whole lot.
Radios, everything, transmission pretty good.
There was an individual, I'm not supposed to mention his name, but there was an individual who donated a lot of radios to the emergency services in the county. They're being installed at the fire department as a backup to a backup. So we'll have our radios, the police department's radios, and the fire department radios. So if one goes down, you've always got somebody that'll, it's supposed to back up automatically. When we get this all worked out, it's really gonna be a good system.
Is that backup at the city or the county fire department?
Get the city fire department.
I don't have anything else.
All we got.
All right.
I'm good.
keep us in mind when you wanna go look at that
Okay,
system.
I figured maybe sometime in March.
Okay.
I know, they said, when they was down there doing that, they had like 6 inches on the ground up there then, so.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Dave.
I know we talked a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard anything, you know.
Well, actually, Mr. Glasgow, he announced his retirement today.
I heard rumors of that,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons brought me up here.
But he's gonna work through the end of June. Well, let's try to get together this week and, with Patrick and Larry, and let's just, see what we can talk about it some more. Is there any time that you guys, Gerald or Joe, wanna talk with, try to get
Yeah,
Larry
I
and
can
Frank together?
talk about anything.
Would Friday, would it like a Friday or Thursday, what would work good for you? Any day better for you?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Well, they better know there, I don't know.
Maybe a Friday morning, would that be good?
We can make it work,
Okay.
Is Patrick gonna be free?
Yeah, let me
Why don't we why don't we see if we'll,
see if I can call Patrick real quick. Just run up to his office, I'll find it quicker that way. Sometimes you don't answer his phone.
It's Tuesday's probably in court.
Is he in court, Ronald?
Probably, I mean, that's,
They look like some court-bound people all the way over there.
I'll tell you what, last week and then yesterday, I mean, they were stacked up.
John, on this right here, is that Richard Todd?
Yeah.
Oh, who is that? Is that his wife?
No? I mean, that's way back there, that's not,
No, there's Becky, that's his mother.
evidently, Todd hadn't been married more than once, had it?
Maybe just once.
Not that I know of. Matter of fact, his wife was pretty young, I think, when they.
Well, her name, but, I mean, I don't know where the
Jamie.
Margaret rings comes in.
There's a Jamie here. You know, it don't matter, I never had seen one of these before.
And, you know, I only got acquainted with them when we bricked their house out there and built, Mike's house out there on
Oh.
45.
Yeah.
Mike, how you doing? Okay, I'm sitting here with the commissioners right now, and they're wanting to probably meet with us Friday with Patrick. Was that doable for you, for Friday morning? No. I don't know, Jason just went up to track down Patrick and see if he can get an official confirmation on the time, and I'll get back with you. I just wanted to see if you were gonna be available, or could be. I don't know yet, that's what they're trying to find out now.
John, was that a Rick?
Okay, I'll see if I can get him to do that for us then.
This was done, and here's the date it was reported.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be better, yeah,
Is that,
yeah,
The grand tour,
that sounds
right
good.
here, this is what.
When I get
grand
out of
tour is
here, I'll
the
give
person
you a
selling
call and
the
show
property,
that's all
and the
transpired.
grantee is the person purchasing the
Okay.
oh,
property.
okay.
Alright, I'll catch up with you later.
But when you plug in their names,
Bye-bye.
you know, it'll show, this is where he's purchased something, or,
Yeah. Okay. 10 acres, yeah. Okay.
as you can see, he's been rather busy since 91.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being nosy there, Jeff, that's just public record.
Oh, yeah.
I was just interested to see. I don't
That's the
understand.
strangest thing going about this, you never know what you're gonna hear.
That's true.
We don't
Do you remember Becky Reams's dad lived in Brookport? I can't remember what his name was, but he could do just about anything, and he was electrician, plumber, and can't remember what his name was.
He lived in Brookport, did he?
I thought he did.
Becky, she was a Penrod.
Okay.
Lance's, her brother, remember Lance?
Yeah.
I worked with, no, I'll tell you where he lived, on McQuarrie Street. Well, wait a minute, no, Lance lived there, I'm not sure.
Well,
Maybe they did live in Brookport.
I think he did. But I remember he'd come out there and he'd do the electrical work and do the plumbing for him. And every time
Sorry,
he switched
took a
jobs, like he had to
Oh,
have
man, I was just
work
checking
and he had to
my-
have
How about,
work.
Thursday at 1 o'clock? Would that be a possibility or not?
Let me call Mike back, we were talking Friday after 10.
Well, Patrick is getting ready for a jury trial that starts next Tuesday.
Ah, okay.
So he needs Friday to interview people or something.
Thursday at 1 o'clock, you said?
Yeah, see if that would possibly work.
But that,
Ed was his brother. He did
I
Penrod.
can't remember what they called him. He had he's a friendly fella.
Hey, Mike. Hi, Frank. How about Thursday at 1 o'clock? You can't make it Friday at all.
They had cattle running out there, and of course, back then, Charles, when I worked together, I'd get the mixed mud and labor.
Oh, you been out there at Ramsey's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to go and clean the cow piles out of this.
Sam.
And there was one instance where
Oh, okay.
he was doing the plumbing and electrical work, and somehow he grounded the electrical work to the plumbing. And
Yeah,
one
that
of those young
sounds
fellas,
good.
I don't know if it was Jamie or
Maybe
Todd,
get
now,
Todd
you gotta
and Ted
understand,
and
they were
stuff
about
and see
this
what's going
tall,
on. I
when we were
appreciate
out
it.
there.
Yeah.
Went in to turn the water on, and just like knocked his arm off.
These boys might have done it on
Okay.
purpose, they're too capable of it.
Oh, they were dandies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Woodrow,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
that was his name.
We can see, okay, that sounds good.
But he
I'll
would,
just set it up here and
You'd
we'll
have
go
a hat,
from
like
there.
when you do phone work, you'd have a hat for that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Take care now. Catch you later.
That's a good idea.
I
Well,
know,
make it one with
they
the
were
other.
all friendly.
Yeah, I'll be
Just
there,
Oh, yeah.
and that's probably Diane and maybe Gary.
Okay.
Across the
Wasn't a
street.
bad job, except they used colored mortar.
You all ever got a chance to talk to
Oh, out there?
Yeah, you had to take
Gary
that
Ginger,
bag,
ain't
it wasn't pretty much.
I haven't, no, I've never talked to him, talked to him at the
Then
next,
next
to be
to
honest with
that.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's black.
You know, it was a
I think
thing,
it was
it's,
Charles.
who owns what yet, you know,
Yeah.
Patrick
Of course,
was
that
gonna check
stuff,
with Pantera.
Unfortunately, in 5
That's the
years,
last
it
I
fades
heard.
away and you can't tell.
Alright, let's
from
go
radio.
Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Okay,
You don't see them do that too
And,
much anymore.
Is there any issues with that, call me on your side, or if there's any issues on my side, I'll call you.
okay, that sounds good, yeah, but Mike's gonna get together and get
I think I
a
did a
couple
yard.
of people, Mike can't be there, but
Yeah,
maybe get a couple other neighbors.
okay.
I know we built. 2
Sounds good, I
fireplaces.
appreciate it.
I appreciate your help.
Thursday will
Like I
be
said,
the
survivor.
17th, correct?
Yeah.
Watch us working on the chimney.
At 1?
Yeah, we'll probably just
And
meet
they have lawn
upstairs,
chairs, and they sit
and,
there for hours and
walk in
watch us
State's
work on
Attorney's
the
office,
chimney.
turn to the right, they got a big table.
And the
That,
hiring
yeah, I've
Yeah,
done that
yeah.
before,
Probably
Patrick.
they move the chair.
Make sure.
Afraid to fall.
Sounds good.
You know,
All right,
hard
take care.
to get
Well, you take care, thank you.
All right, bud.
Take care.
All right, Frank. And didn't put them behind some,
Criteria, I should say. Says members appointed by us, says that to be eligible for the appointment, individual must be nominated by a local business organization or business trade. Appointee must represent a business with employment opportunities that reflect employment opportunities for the local area. So you wanna keep that in mind.
was, the CPA, is he on there still?
I
or-
think Mr. Rushing was on there, but apparently he's off, as it says, our record shows Massac County currently needs one more representative on.
Well, I think it was Hambrick that that
Never
they
showed up.
just never showed up.
I was wondering about Tommy Reed, if he'd be interested.
I wondered about him, and you said that him or April, either one,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I could, I
The
could.
only drawback with that board is they meet up in Harrisburg.
Really? Yeah.
They used to meet at Southeastern College.
That one guy's on the phone,
Chris Fox.
well, it's another guy with the same
You
company.
just want me to tell him I'm not interested, or you want to talk to him?
Is that what he tells you? Hey, I'm sorry to
Well,
the
he
meeting,
said
come
he-
over there with this
well, I
one
think
guy
he'll
on the
be
phone,
Yeah.
story, no name, no nothing. Come up with a, it's John Smith.
I'll do better
It's
than
John
that.
Smith, okay?
I have my story down straight.
Huh?
No, wait, wait, wait.
I don't even know, it's something they're trying to sell us, some type of computer, or some type of system, I don't know. It wasn't nothing
We
we
pay
really
for
needed.
it from both.
But anyway, it says here, it says, usually you ask people's on the Chamber of Commerce or Farm Bureau members is another good one, you know, so, that's what it says here. We ask you to, as Massac County CEO, to solicit nominations for general purpose business organizations, such as your local chamber or Farm Bureau, and from the nominations received from the appointment to serve the business representation for Southern 14 workforce investments. You got any other people? Mr. Reams, would he like to be on that? He's a business owner.
Yeah, may hire somebody. You know what they said, need somebody to hire.
Well, no, they just need someone that's a business owner, that has employees or people that's involved with businesses, you know, not necessarily, people who generate,
Business-minded.
people who have a business in the community that potentially generate, workforce. I didn't know if Todd had employees there or not.
Well, his brother
Yeah.
works there. And
And there's
maybe
probably
they can.
somebody.
Does
out
Lynn
south
work there
there.
for him? I thought Lynn worked somewhere else.
No, he works down there.
Lynn's there every day.
I thought he worked at a forest or somewhere, I didn't.
I don't know much about what it does. Hey, you know, Ring's got a brand new Ford four-wheel drive out there, you know. Got $100 on it.
Well, I think it's good, they went with me, wouldn't
Yes,
it?
sir, man.
Maybe y'all think about it this week, maybe next week we can come up with somebody.
I'll try to do that.
Like he said, that the downside to it is you gotta go to Harrisburg once a month.
You write that down. I'll forget it.
What is the progress, or how's it going with, the ESDA interview?
That's a good one there. It's not on the agenda today. I was hoping we'd make a decision. I feel like we're down to maybe 2 or 3 candidates that it's between. Do we just wanna put it on the agenda for next week?
I think so.
Okay. So it'd be on the agenda for next week to
Okay.
hire that position.
Yeah.
Should've got it on there this week. Let it slip by that fast.
Y'all had, budget meeting yet, or is that coming up?
It's, should be this week, we should be getting together. I mean, John gave us some information on the budget, we have copies of most everybody's budget requests. We just need to sit down and work through it. I don't know if you all wanna do that today after lunch, or when's a good time for you?
Well, I'm kinda tied up this afternoon.
Since we're gonna meet with them,
Wednesday, Thursday at what, 1?
would y'all wanna meet before that, or stay after that, and maybe work on it a little bit?
What we're gonna do, meet Thursday?
Thursday at 1 o'clock up at,
Patrick's office.
Patrick's office, discuss Cedar Lane with those folks some more. We'll try to get with Mr. Glasgow before that, and Patrick. If you know, just, need to kinda get a cost figure on that road. You know, pretty good cost figure. Would Thursday at 1 work for you?
Yeah,
Okay. Would you wanna stay a little bit after that on Thursday,
it can.
or would you wanna come in before?
I'd rather do after personally.
Okay, that's fine with me.
That'd be all right with me.
Okay. You know, we can stay for a couple hours.